Maya Brooks stood on the bridge of her ship when everything changed forever in ways she never imagined possible before that moment arrived, without warning. The reconnaissance vessel drifted through deep space near the Veil Nebula, tracking strange energy patterns that appeared 3 days earlier according to all their scanning equipment and sensors. Captain Morgan leaned forward, watching the view screen with growing concern about what they were seeing out there. In the darkness between stars, Maya reported the unusual readings from her tactical station with practiced efficiency born from years of military service and training across many dangerous missions. Then the ship lurched violently as alarms screamed through every corridor and deck, making everyone grab onto something solid and stable in nearby reality. Tore apart around them, pulling the vessel into impossible light that hurt to look at directly with unprotected eyes staring forward. When Maya could see again, she found herself standing in an ancient forest beneath twin moons, instead of on her ship surrounded by metal and technology. Woman stood before her looking both beautiful and dangerous at the same time, in equal measure that took breath away instantly. Silver hair cascaded past her waist while amber eyes glowed with inner light that seemed almost alive and aware of everything around them. Her armor appeared to be living metal that pulsed with its own heartbeat, covered in runes that shifted and changed constantly. Without stopping, pointed ears marked her as something beyond human mythology made real, and standing right there in front of Maya, blocking her path forward, the woman spoke with a musical yet sharp voice that carried an accent Maya could not place or recognize from anywhere she had traveled before. She called herself Keeper Solara of the Moonwood Citadel and Guardian of the Seventh Realm. While staring at Maya with suspicious intensity, Maya raised her hands, slowly keeping them visible while her sidearm remained holstered at her hip, ready if needed for defense. She tried explaining about her ship, but Solara interrupted, saying it lay scattered across 3 provinces caught in gateway storms beyond control before Maya could respond. Ground trembled violently as creatures poured from shadows, moving wrong between solid and smoke form. Solara drew a blade from thin air with an edge burning silver fire, hot enough to feel from several feet away from where it appeared. Maya drew her plasma pistol, and they fought together, moving as one, despite being strangers who met only moments before this battle. Creatures were called Void Corrupted, and they came with soldiers in black armor, carrying weapons crackling with dark energy that killed. They moved together instinctively, with Maya providing precise covering fire, while Solara danced between enemies with inhuman grace and speed. A corrupted beast lunged at Maya from her blind spot, too fast for her to turn and shoot it. Before impact would occur, Solara intercepted the creature with her own body, and Maya reached out reflexively to catch the elf before she hit the ground hard. Moment their skin touched, the entire world went white with blinding light that burned through closed eyelids into their minds. Power surged between them, ancient and primal and completely undeniable, forcing visions into Maya from battles across millennia of endless war. She saw a great dragon with scales like midnight stars, and an oath sworn under dying suns across galaxies far from this place beneath it all. A bond snapped into place with the finality of a door slamming shut and locking tight behind them. Forevermore. When light faded, Solara stared at Maya with wide, horrified eyes that showed fear for the first time since they met minutes earlier. Roar split the sky as something massive descended through the canopy, with wings blotting out both moons above them completely. The dragon was enormous, easily the size of a frigate, with scales rippling colors that hurt to look at directly for too long. It landed with earth-shaking force, and Maya felt its presence in her bones and soul, deeper than anything she experienced before. Now the corrupted forces scattered, fleeing back into shadows, away from the dragon, who lowered its massive head to stare at Maya intently. The dragon spoke directly into her mind, saying Solara had chosen, and the bond was sealed according to ancient laws and custom. Solara protested, saying Maya was human and not one of their people, so the ritual and laws should not apply here. And now the dragon called. Nyx interrupted, saying the mate bond recognizes no laws but its own, and Solara accepted Maya by touching her free. Maya demanded explanations about what just happened, while her tactical training screamed for answers and assessment of this impossible situation. explained with barely controlled emotion that Maya was bound to her now by old laws and blood and magic witnessed. By her guardian in their language, Maya was her soul match and fated companion, which the dragon helpfully clarified meant. Her mate for life, Eternal Maya, asked what happened if she refused to accept this bond that formed without her permission. Or, understanding of consequences involved, pain flashed across Solara's face, quickly hidden, but Maya felt it echo through their new connection, linking them together. Permanently now, Nick said simply that Maya would die because the bond once formed cannot be broken without destroying both souls completely and utterly. The dragon added that the Shadow King sense what occurred and know the Keeper found her mate at last, moving prophecy forward. Horns echoed across the forest, deep and ominous and countless in number as lights moved through trees by the hundreds or thousands. Alara hand found Maya hand, and the rightness of it thrummed through the bond, connecting them at levels deeper than simple physical touch. Maya identified herself as Lieutenant Commander Brooks of Earth Alliance Navy and confirmed she could fight whatever came their way next. Solara commanded Maya to hold on tight as Nyx would take them to the Citadel, where her crew was being gathered by rangers as the dragon crouched low, allowing them to climb onto its broad-scaled back. Maya caught Solara's wrist, demanding her full attention. Told Solara she did not ask for this bond, but she does not run from responsibilities, and if they were in this together, then she was all in. Complete. Alisala. Amber eyes searched hers for a long moment before smiling, small and uncertain but genuine for the first time since they met. She told Maya to hold tight and welcomed her accidental mate to the War of Seven Realms. That would decide the fate of entire worlds as they launched into night sky, with the Shadow King armies spreading across forests below like plague. Maya realized everything changed forever. Her quiet patrol mission became something far more dangerous and important than she ever imagined possible in her worst nightmares or best dreams. Bond hummed between her and the mysterious elf woman, while somewhere in distance her scattered crew waited for rescue and reunion. This was no longer about survival or returning home to Earth and the life she left behind when entering this impossible realm. This was about saving two worlds, and perhaps against all odds, finding where she truly belonged in the universe, vast and strange. The flight to Moonwood Citadel took them over a landscape that defied everything Maya understood about planetary geography, and natural formation. Forests gave way to floating islands, connected by bridges of solid light, while crystalline mountains sang in frequencies felt more than heard. Great scars crossed the land where reality itself seemed wounded, with patches of absolute darkness that even twin moons could not illuminate. Solara called them. Oidus explaining where the Shadow King power broke through, consuming everything like infection spreading without cure. 2 years ago there were 3 Voitiers, but now there were 47, and the number kept growing faster with each passing month. Maya tactical mind cataloged information, automatically noting the acceleration pattern that suggested the enemy was building toward something big. Nyx confirmed they called it the convergence, when the Voitiers would merge into one great wound, and their realm would fall into eternal shadow. Dragon said they had perhaps 6 months before everything ended in darkness and corruption, consuming all life in this realm. Completely. Maya had led evacuation operations with tighter timelines and coordinated fleet movements in more complex scenarios during her career, but never had she felt the weight of an entire world's survival pressing down quite like this moment, flying through alien skies. Moonwood Citadel rose from mountain peak like a crown of silver and living wood, with towers spiraling impossibly high into clouds as they descended into central courtyard. Maya saw elven warriors rushing to positions along walls, wearing armor similar to Solara, but less elaborate. Them wearing borrowed gear and looking thoroughly out of place. Were humans from her crew alive and standing together? Lieutenant Katie Walsh broke from formation, then caught herself snapping a salute with visible relief flooding across her young face. Maya returned salute, asking how many survived the crash, and transition into this realm through impossible gateway storms. Katie voice cracked slightly, reporting 42 survivors out of 93 total crew, with Captain Morgan not making it through alive. The news hit like physical blow because Lisa Morgan had been Maya's mentor and friend for years across multiple deployments together. Maya forced herself to breathe through grief and compartmentalize emotions because there would be time for mourning. Later, after duty was done, Katie explained. Others were safe with injuries, but nothing critical, according to Dr. Amy Chen, who was treating everyone in medical Beishi. Asked what was happening because their scanners did not work right and half their equipment was dead while elves talked. About magic, Maya caught Solara's eye across courtyard and the bond thrummed between them, creating constant awareness of location and emotional state. She told Katie to trust her and gather the crew for briefing once she knew more about their situation. And options available. What Maya did not say was that she was bound to their allies' leader by mystical bond, or that dragon could speak in her mind. Solara approached, saying, Maya, people were resilient and adapted quickly to impossible circumstances. Better than most would in similar situation. Maya gestured at Citadel and armed elves and dragons, asking for real tactical data about enemy capabilities and strategic objective. Esla interrupted sharply, saying this was not HFY War and her crew should leave while they still could escape back to their realm. Bond flared with emotion, showing fear and determination, and beneath it all, desperate hope that Maya would stay and fight. Maya said they could not leave and asked how to get home. If gateway storms brought them here without permission, or Contra Solara jaw tightened, explaining gateways were controlled by arcane. Council and capital, 3 weeks' journey through hostile territory. The council had not opened stable gateway in months, because Shadow King corrupts them, turning travel routes into deadly weapons. Maya nodded slowly, understanding they were stranded here with no way home until the war was won or lost completely. She proposed simple solution that their objectives align. So they help Solara fight, and in return get help getting home. Eventually, Solara composure cracked, as she said nothing about this was simple at all, in any way that mattered for survival. The Shadow King had armies beyond counting, and creatures from Nightmare, and now he would hunt Maya specifically because of the bond. Keeper Mate was prophesied to turn tide of war, so an enemy would throw everything at them to prevent prophecy from coming true. Solara was trying to protect Maya crew by pushing them away before they died because of her careless mistake touching a stranger. Maya understood then that Solara had been fighting alone too long and was terrified that having something to lose would make her weak. She told Solara that was exactly backward, because love does not make people weak, but gives them strength and purpose worth fighting for. Before Solara could respond, a bell tolled deep and urgent as warriors scrambled to walls, and Nyx launched skyward with Roar Scout appeared beside Solara. Breathing hard, reporting eastern approaches had at least 5,000 corrupted, supported by war beasts and Dark Magalera. Asked how long before attack arrived, and Scout estimated 20 minutes, maybe less depending on enemy advance speeds. Lara turned to Maya, commanding her to get people to Inner Keep, which was shielded and defensible against normal assault. Maya refused flatly, saying her crew fought off pirates and held lines against terrible odds before, and they do not hide from fights. Solara protested that humans did not have magic and their weapons might not work against corrupted forces properly. Maya interrupted, saying weapons work fine against flesh and blood, as proven in Forest earlier when they fought together successfully. Leaned closer, asking if Solara wanted to protect her, then let her fight beside her, because that is what mates do together for. First time since meeting, Solara smiled genuinely, and it transformed her face from beautiful to radiant in single instant. Asked if Maya was very brave or very foolish, and Maya grinned, saying she'd been told it was both qualities together. Battle preparations moved with practiced efficiency, as Solara positioned warriors along walls while Maya gathered her crew together. At 42 fighters with various sidearms and rifles, but limited ammunition and no heavy weapons for sustained combat. Dr. Chen set up triage station, while Katie coordinated with elven archers and Nicole worked to adapt plasma rifles for sustained fire. Maya stood beside Solara on walls, watching Forest go dark as corrupted approached in massive numbers that blocked out moonlight. Sela explained tactical situation, pointing at approaches and explaining enemy would hit Eastern Gate. First trying to overwhelm with numbers, Maya studied approaches with Commander I. Noting Forest provided cover but also created choke points they could exploit with concentrated fire. Solara said corrupted learn and evolve, so they would adapt quickly. But concentrated fire would slow initial advance effectively, The bond hummed with shared purpose as they thought in tandem. Creating strategies that combine magical and technological warfare where Solara saw magical vulnerabilities Maya identified, tactical weaknesses, and together they understood terrain better than either Alon Solara. Said softly that this was what prophecy meant about two ways of war working as one unified force before. Maya could respond Nick's roar split night as Dragon dived. From clouds breathing silver fire that ignited forest below, the forest burned, revealing approaching horde in Maya. Breath caught because 5,000 was very conservative estimate of enemy numbers corrupted, came like living tide of twisted elves. And beasts and things, never natural, moving wrong through shadows. Towards citadel behind them, massive war beasts lumbered forward. Each size of building covered in armor of darkness itself that absorbed light's Alara voice rang out amplified by magic. Ordering archers ready and shields to hold position. Against coming assault, Maya activated Come, ordering all personnel weapons free on her mark with target. Priority focusing on war beasts first, the horde reached cleared ground before walls and four. Terrible moment, there was only silence, waiting for battle to begin. Solara hand tightened on Maya hand as bond surged with fierce determination, an absolute refusal to yield ground. Solara cried out for citadel, while Maya answered for survival. And together they faced impossible odds side by side. The battle began with elven arrows filling sky, each enchanted with different effects of fire and ice and lightning human. Plasma bolts carved through corrupted ranks with surgical precision, while Nyx harried war beasts from above with claws and fire, but there were too many enemies always too. Many, no matter how many, fell before their combined assault war. Beasts reached walls with massive claws tearing at stone, and Maya directed fire teams. 2 weak points, Solara indicated through bond. The creature screamed as plasma ate into brain, and it fell hard, but another immediately took its place, pushing forward someone. Shouted about gate, and Maya turned, seeing corrupted massing at eastern entrance. Where Dark Mage channeled dark energy, the barrier flickered and failed as magical wards. Collapsed under sustained assault from shadow, Magic Solara said she must go, and was already moving before Maya could protest or suggest alternative plan. Maya watched through bond as Solara raced toward failing gate with blade blazing silver fire. Against gathering darkness, the Dark Mage saw her coming, and shadow and light collided violently as dark magic tore at Solara. Defenses Maya could not just watch, and handed command to Katie before rappelling down after Solara firing pistol at War Council chamber was circular room carved from living wood that still grew and breathed with life maps. Spread across central table, not paper, but living projections of light showing troop movements in real time. Maya crew stood on one side, and elven commanders on other, with tension thick between different groups. Commander Theron refused placing warriors under human command, saying they knew nothing of elven ways, or Magic Lieutenant. Katie shot back that elven warriors knew nothing of coordinated fire support or combined arms tactics. Alara voice cut through argument, saying they survived because humans and elves fought together against corrupted. Nyx added from where she perched along wall that this alliance was not merely convenient, but absolutely necessary. Maya stepped forward, activating portable projector that created 3-dimensional map overlaying magical Wanshi. Explained her engineer adapted scanning equipment to interface with magical sensors and found concerning patterns combined. Map showed Voitiers in red with 47 points of corruption spread across realm, but Maya scans revealed something elves missed, showing Voitiers formed geometric pattern with precise intervals between each. She zoomed in on largest concentration, showing 5 more Voitiers in Shadow King territory that scouts had not detected. Silence fell over chamber as everyone processed implications of hidden corruption spreading without detection. Theron demanded how that was possible when they're far. Seers should have sensed such corruption immediately. Dr. Chen explained Shadow King was deliberately hiding Voitiers with dampening field that magic-based detection could not penetrate, but technology could see through deception, revealing true scope of enemy plans for convergence. Siler said softly that this was what prophecy meant about 2 visions, seeing what one alone cannot. Maya nodded, explaining If pattern was correct, there should be 7 more hidden. Voitiar's position strategically display. Projected complete pattern with all Voitiars. It's positioned around one central point deep in enemy territory. Theron, its identified location as Obsidian Spire, which was Shadow King's seat of power, and most fortified position. Maya continued grimly that if pattern completed, all 59 Voitiars would activate simultaneously, causing convergence. It's not in 6 months as previously thought, but in 6 weeks, changing entire timeline for survival. Chaos erupted as commanders shouted over each other while Maya crew exchanged worried glances about timeline. Nick's roar silenced everyone, and Dragon confirmed humans spoke truth about accelerated timeline for convergence. Sisler said quietly they needed to strike it, Obsidian Spire, directly and destroy it. Before pattern completed, Theron protested, calling planned suicide because Spire was guarded by 50,000 corrupted and Shadow King himself. Maya suggested getting allies from other settlements, shown on maps like Crystal Valleys and Iron Mountains. In coastal cities, uncomfortable silence fell, and Solara explained heavily those places already fell or declared neutrality. Thinking isolation would save them, Katie cleared throat, offering help as former diplomatic attaché who negotiated with difficult parties before she proposed going as survivors, offering proof through data, showing pattern and timeline with hope from Human Alpha Alliance over. Next hour they made plan with Katie leading diplomatic mission while Nicole worked on weapon modifications. Dr. Chen would train healers in human techniques while learning magical healing methods. In exchange, Maya would accompany Solara on reconnaissance mission to locate hidden Voitiars and verify their theory was correct. Nicole asked dubiously if just 2 of them could survive against Shadow King entire army alone. Solara said they would take Nix and avoid engagement, doing strictly reconnaissance to confirm pattern before planning assault. Maya added they needed to test something about bond and how magic channeled through it was stronger than before. Ix explained human souls were different from elven ones, and when Keeper drew on Maya, life force, she could channel more power. Dr. Chen protested, saying Maya could be permanently harmed by serving as anchor for that much magical energy. Solara interrupted quietly, saying they could finally have weapon capable of matching Shadow King if they worked together. Maya said cost was hers to pay because they were in this together, and she wanted to see what they were capable of doing. Council adjourned with everyone assigned tasks, and as others filed out, Maya studied map of Shadow King domains. Somewhere in darkness was key to saving both their worlds from corruption and destruction. Slur came to stand beside her, saying she could feel Maya mind racing through bond connection. Maya apologized, calling it bad habit, while trying to figure out Shadow King endgame and reason for pattern. Solara explained softly that he did not want to destroy, but transform and remake world where he was eternal and absolute. Maya said he was delusional because no system lasts forever, and entropy always wins. Eventual. Lisala suggested, telling him that when they faced him in final confrontation, Maya turned, finding Solara watching her with unreadable expression, full of conflicting emotion. Solara reached out hesitantly with fingers brushing Maya's cheek, saying bond between them grew stronger each day. Soon they would not be able to function apart as their souls were merging into one entity, in 2. Bodhismaya admitted she knew and felt it too, with distance from Solara, causing physical discomfort. Nezalara asked if Maya was afraid of bond, and Maya admitted being terrified but not of bond itself. Was afraid of failing everyone and not being enough for what was coming. In final battle, Solara laughed shortly, saying Maya saved them and brought hope where there was none, before Maya caught Solara's hand, keeping it against her cheek, saying she knew. Solara, better than Elf, thought through bond. She knew Solara woke from nightmares about people she could not save from corruption. Knew Solara hid how much magic drained her, because showing weakness might break. Morale, she knew Solara had not really smiled in over a year until Maya made her laugh yesterday. Solara asked if Bond told all this, and Maya said Bond, plus paying attention to details. She turned head, pressing kiss to Solara's palm, and Elf breath caught at intimate gesture. Maya said she knew Solara was falling for her as hard as she was falling, and it scared Elf. Solara whispered that love was weapon because Shadow King was once Elf in love with human who died when she died. His grief transformed him into what he was now, so love destroyed Him completely. Maya disagreed firmly, saying grief and isolation destroyed him, not love itself. He had love and lost it, then chose darkness over healing, which was not same as their situation. Solara asked how Maya could be sure, and Maya gestured at Citadel, explaining they were not alone. He faced loss isolated, but they had each other and their people and everyone fighting beside them. Love did not make them weak, but gave them something worth fighting for. An endless war. Solara closed distance, resting forehead against Maya, saying she had romantic view of war. Maya smiled, saying Solara had cynical view of love for someone whose soul bonded to stranger. They balanced each other. That was entire point of prophecy, bringing them together. Now they stood breathing together with bond humming contentedly between them in peaceful moments. Lara pulled back slightly, with expression shifting to something more serious. About reconnaissance, Mishanshi explained to locate hidden Voidhars. They needed to get close enough that corruption would sense them, close enough that Shadow King himself might take notice and try to break their bond. He would try turning love into hatred and trust into betrayal as his favorite weapon against enemies. Maya said simply, they would have to be stronger than his manipulation, and they could do that. Together, Solara called Maya confidence disconcerting, but Maya said it was based on evidence of fighting together successfully. They strategized together despite different backgrounds, and right now, she could feel Solara worry through bond. Solara eyes widened, calling that disconcerting, and Maya grinned, saying that was partnership to get used to despite herself. Solara smiled genuinely, and Maya was already addicted to seeing that expression. Maya asked when they left, and Solara said dawn tomorrow, giving time to prepare and restand, to know each other better, because if facing Shadow King corruption, the bond must be as strong as possible. Maya was open. 2 suggestions, and Solara voice dropped, explaining shared experiences and honest communication and trust. Physical intimacy, though not necessarily what Maya might think, only if she wanted to pursue that. Maya said she would not pressure Solara into anything, and they would strengthen bond at right pace. Relief in Solara eyes was visible, and they spent rest of day together, not preparing, but simply buying. Solara Bora showed Maya gardens where flowers grew in impossible colors and sang with wind. Maya taught Solara about earth and oceans and cities and stars from human perspective. They shared meals and stories and laughter, building connection beyond just magical bond. As night fell, Solara invited Maya to her chambers, not for passion, but comfort of sleeping beside someone. Maya accepted without hesitation, and they lay together, wrapped in each other's arms. Solara whispered she never thought she would find peace, even with war at their gates. Maya admitted, saying she was always too focused on mission to let herself feel anything. Now she was bound to an incredible woman who made her want to be better and believe they could win. Solara arms tightened, asking Maya not to make promises they could not keep. Maya said she was not promising survival, but promising to fight together, whatever came in. Warm darkness with bond singing softly between souls, that was enough for both of them. Dawn broke cold and gray over Moonwood Citadel as Maya stood checking her gear in courtyard. She had plasma pistol and spare power cells and survival pack, plus new blade forged by elven smiths. The metal was lighter than human weapons, with runes inscribed that Solara promised would cut through corruption. Katie approached, already dressed for a diplomatic mission, asking if Maya was nervous about reconnaissance. Maya had admitted being terrified, but that was normal for flying into enemy territory. With only dragon riding soulmate, Katie attempt at humor did not reach her eyes as she told Maya to come back alive. Maya started to give contingency orders, but Katie cut her off, refusing to hear any speech about not making it back. They were both coming back and winning this war and finding way home, according to Katie. Firm belief. Maya pulled friend into a quick hug, agreeing before they parted ways to their separate dangerous missions. The Eri was massive platform jutting from Citadel highest tower, where Nyx waited with wings already spread. Solara stood beside Dragon, dressed in traveling leathers with silver hair bound in practical braid. She asked if Maya was ready, and Maya said as ready as she would ever be, for this flight would take for hours to border of Shadow King domain, and from there they would proceed carefully. Maya caught Solara hand, saying they had this mission handled together and would Succeed Solara said Maya optimism was either inspiring or delusional, and she had not decided which yet. Maya grinned, saying definitely both, and despite tension, Solara smiled back. Nyx rumbled that if they were finished being adorable, there was reconnaissance to conduct flight. Began smoothly with Maya secured behind Solara. On Dragonback, holding tight around elf waists, Citadel fell away below, becoming small against vast wilderness as they launched into dawn sky first. They flew over friendly territory with forests and rivers and small settlements waving at them then. Landscape changed with trees growing twisted and leaves. Black and withered from corruption rivers ran thick and dark and in distance first. Voiter appeared as wound in reality bleeding darkness. Lara said they were crossing into contested territory. Now, and to stay alert for danger, Maya felt wrongness before seeing it as pressure against mind like invisible hands trying to pry into thoughts. Corruption was subtle at first, whispering doubts about being weak and not belonging here through bond. She felt Solara experiencing similar attacks, telling her human was burden who would get her killed. Maya said not to listen because it was just corruption talking lies to break. Them Solara knew, but her voice wavered slightly under mental assault. From spreading darkness, Nyx descended lower, weaving between dead trees as they approached first hidden Void tier, location Maya. Scanner went haywire, detecting massive energy at point where Solara magical senses reported nothing at all. Solara said. Frustrated that dampening field was perfect and she could not see anything wrong there, Maya said they needed to go closer to verify and landed in clearing of dead grass. Moment Maya, feet touched ground. Corruption intensified, making vision swim with horrible images. She saw Solara face twist into something cruel and hateful, but knew it was not real. Solara gripped her hand, saying to stay focused on them because bond was stronger than corruption. Together, they pushed through invisible barrier, and suddenly, Maya could see it clearly. Voitier was size of house, with edges writhing with dark energy hidden perfectly from magical detection. Scylla breathed that Maya was right, and it was massive, just as theory predicted. Maya activated scanner recording everything while Voitier pulsed in rhythmic patterns synchronized with distant heartbeat. It was connected to something central, like city and spire powering entire network. Solara started to suggest marking location, but warning came too late. Voitier pulsed brightly and darkness exploded outward as corrupted creatures materialized from shadows. Dozens surrounded, clearing, and Solara shouted to get back to Nyx. Immediately they fought toward Dragon, but corrupted pressed from all sides in overwhelming numbers. Maya plasma pistol carved through ranks, but for every one that fell to more emerged corruption. Pressed harder on mind, showing visions of Solara dying and crew being slaughtered. Scylla voice cut through assault, grabbing Maya free hand as power surged through bond visions. Cleared as combined will pushed back against corruption, trying to break them, Maya said together, and Solara agreed as they stood back-to-back, weapons blazing. They stopped retreating and instead stood firm with bond flaring like star between them. Solara channeled magic through Maya life force, and silver fire turned white gold. Again Maya felt drain on energy but did not care because they were stronger together. Corrupted fell before a combined assault, and those that did not retreat simply dissipated. Finally clearing fell silent, and Solara panted, leaning against Maya. Exhausted, Maya said that was too close, but they survived and got readings they needed. Solara muttered 5 more locations meant 5 more chances to die in similar attacks. Maya disagreed, saying 5 more chances to prove they were unstoppable. Team Nyx snorted, saying they attracted trouble, but it was almost impressive to watch. Next 4 locations followed similar pattern with hidden voiciers and corrupted guardians. Each battle left them more drained, but each victory strengthened bond and trust between them. By 5th location, both were running on fumes with corruption. Mental assault growing stronger, this voicier was largest, yet in corruption so intense that reality warped around it visibly. Maya said studying scanner that this was keystone connecting all other hidden tiers together. If they destroyed it, they would alert Shadow King. 2. What they discovered immediately agreed they were in no condition to fight way out and should mark it and leave, but as they turned, voice echoed across corrupted landscape. Deep and amused, an ancient voice said how delightful that keeper and pet came so far from home to die here. Darkness Coalesced into figure-wearing armor of living shadow, with face twisted by corruption, Scylla recognized him as General Malachor, who was her mother's most trusted champion before corruption. He said he saw truth, that resistance was futile in shadow. King offered eternal purpose to Scylla, said she would rather die than accept corruption. Willingly Malar said that could be arranged, and asked Maya what she hoped to accomplish. Her world was beyond veil, and she could flee, leaving this realm to its fate. Maya raised pistol, saying where she came from, they did not abandon. Alice Malacha laughed, calling loyalty quaint, before saying shadow. King would enjoy corrupting their bond, turning pure love into same hatred that birthed him from grief and isolation. Maya said he could try, and Malachor moved with inhuman speed past her toward. Sillerelf brought up blade but was too slow and drained to block effectively. Maya threw herself between them, taking blow meant for Solara as dark energy ripped through her. She screamed as corruption tried flooding into soul, but bond flared blinding in absolute Solara. Magic poured into Maya, burning away corruption before it could take hold permanently. Maya life force fed back into Solara, anchoring magic and giving it form and purpose. They were not two people anymore, but one being, and that being was furious power, exploded, destroying Malachor avatar completely, as his scream echoed across landscape when light-faded general was gone, but cost was devastating. To them both. Maya collapsed into Solara arms, with vision swimming while Elf barely held them upright. Solara called weakly for Nyx, and dragons swooped down, snatching them in gentle clauses. They lifted. Maya looked back at massive void tears spreading corruption everywhere. She whispered, asking if Solara heard that Shadow King knew about them and Bond. Now Solara said she knew, but they also proved they could destroy his lieutenants. Maya asked if that was enough, and Solara said it had to be flight. Back was blur, with Maya drifting in and out of consciousness, held secure through Bond. She felt Solara, terror, and determination, and fierce protectiveness. They landed. Dr. Chen was waiting with healers, rushing Maya to medical hall. Solara refused to leave her side, even as healers tried examining them separately. Healer explained, Bond saved Maya because corruption should have killed her instantly, but connection to keep her burned it away before taking root permanently. And Soul Healer asked if Maya would be okay, and was told yes, with rest and recovery time. But this was warning that deeper they bonded, more they risked losing everything. Solara said quietly she always knew that if one fell, other would follow. Maya squeezed hand weakly, saying it was worth risk. And Solara called her delirious. Maya agreed, probably, but still worth it for what they were building together. Nicole burst in, saying Katie delegation returned with important news. Coastal cities agreed to join, with all 6 cities contributing 20,000 warriors. Katia explained she showed them data Maya gathered, proving hidden void chairs and timeline shed. Told them about human and elf bonding and fighting impossible odds together. Made them believe if that gap could be bridged, they could trust. Alliance Theron said 20,000 warriors combined with their forces gave them actual chance. Maya looked at Solara, feeling elf hope warring with caution through Banshee, said firmly they had more than chance because they had Army Noan 6 weeks to prepare for fight of their lives against corruption. Scylla expression shifted from worry to determination as she raised Maya hand to lips. She said they better not waste single day preparing for final battle. Medical hall erupted into planning as two peoples began truly uniting. For first time, Maya felt something shift in Bond, moving beyond connection or necessity. War camp sprawled across plains before Obsidian Spire, like living thing of tents and warriors. 3,000 warriors from 6 cities, plus 3,000 Moonwood elves and 42 humans. Banners of different houses flew side by side, with sound of training and planning filling air. Maya stood on ridge overlooking it all, with Solara at her side. As always, they'd spent 5 weeks transforming strangers into allies and skeptics into believers through constant effort. 5 weeks of combined training and integrated tactics and small victories against corrupted forces. 5 weeks of bond deepening until Maya could not imagine existing without Solara presence. And Sal Solara said quietly for days until convergence and they were attacking. Most fortified position with half-needed forces. Maya said that sounded about right for their luck, and felt elf nervousness through Banshee. Asked about second thoughts, and Solara admitted having them constantly, but being out of alternatives plan. Was ambitious to point of insanity with main force assaulting Spire defenses to draw attention. Maya and Solara would lead strike team deep inside to destroy Keystone Voitaire before pattern completed simple, except for 50,000 corrupted defenders. And Shadow King himself waiting for them. Katie jogged up ridge saying final briefing started in 10 minutes, and Dr. Chen wanted to see them. First, Chen was in medical tent, surrounded by equipment and magical artifacts, studying bond structure. She said without preamble that bond was evolving faster than any recorded mate bond in history. Within month, they would be unable to function independently, with separation causing pain or death. Maya and Solara exchanged glances, knowing they felt it happening already between them. Chen continued saying concerning part was what happened when channeling power together. Confrontation, their life signs synchronized completely for 3 seconds, becoming one organism if either died while merged. Like that, both souls would be destroyed completely. Not just dead, but gone, with no afterlife or reincarnation left behind. Silence fell, and Solara said slowly they could not use combined power in final battle. Chen corrected, saying they needed to be very careful when and how they used it, because it was all or nothing gamble that could erase them from existence. Nodded, processing information and asking if there was anything else. Chen hesitated, saying, just be careful, because she did not train. Toulouse commanding officer final briefing was held in command tent with leaders from all cities, and Theron and Nix-Theron explained. Spire defenses were layered with outer walls, defended by war beasts, and soldiers inner sanctum protected by elite guard and corrupted champions, with throne room at center. Admiral Helena from coastal cities said fleet would bombard outer walls, creating breaches. Caddy said her battalion would lead main assault using integrated tactics, keeping defenders occupied. Strike team would be small, with just Maya and Solara and Nix, plus 6 volunteer speed over strength to get in and destroy Keystone and escape before Shadow King stopped them. Admiral said bluntly that Maya meant before he killed them all. Katie volunteered immediately, but Maya denied, saying she needed Katie leading main force. This was one-way trip for most of them, and Maya had prepared refusal. Nicole stepped forward, saying someone needed to set charges, and she was best demolitions expert ranger, Captain. Finn volunteered, saying Keeper should not face this alone against corruption. More stepped forward, including 2 mages and engineer, and surprisingly, Dr. Chen. Maya protested Chen being doctor, but she said they would need 1 and not 2. Argue final. 2 days passed in blur of preparations and goodbyes. In quiet moments, Maya sat with crew, sharing stories of Earth and homes they might never see. Again, Katie insisted they would get back after winning, and elves would figure out gateway asked quietly what if they did not make it back home. Ever, Maya said firmly. They made difference here, saving world, and that was not nothing night. Before assault, Solara led Maya to quiet grove away from camp beneath full twin moons. She said she needed to tell Maya something before tomorrow, before they faced death together. Solara composure cracked as emotions swirled through bond of fear and love and determination. Explained when war started and her mother fell, she stopped believing in tomorrow. She fought because it was all she had left, not because she thought they could win. Then Maya appeared, making her want to survive and believe again in future. Solara hands trembled, saying she loved Maya despite only 5 weeks, and bond complicating everything's. Needed Maya to promise that if it came down to choice between convergence and saving, her Maya would choose stopping convergence and save world, even if it meant losing each other. Maya pulled Solara into arms, feeling tears against neck, and said she could not promise that. Solara protested, but Maya said no, because she was making same promise to crew. They were coming back together, all of them, regardless of odds or prophesies. She would not care what odds were, because they were going to destroy Voitaire and stop convergence. And Liv Solara called her optimism infuriating, and Maya said she loved Solara for it anyway. She told Solara to say it again, and Elf whispered she loved Maya with everything. Maya said she loved Solara too, pouring 5 weeks of fighting and growing into kiss. When they pulled apart, both were crying and smiling at same time. Maya said tomorrow they save world, and Solara agreed as they spent night in each other. Arms bond glowed softly between them, and 4 precious hours there was no war, just two souls perfectly matched facing unknown. Together with Hope Dawn came too quickly. An assault began with thunder from fleet bombardment war. Ships unleashed devastating attacks on outer walls, while Shadow King forces responded on ground. 23,000 warriors charged across plain, as Corrupted poured out Katie. Voice-coordinated plasma fire with elven magic and combined. Arms display above it all. Nyx flew with Strike Team, clinging to back watching battle. Unfold Solara pointed at service entrance, partially collapsed and hopefully undefended. Dove folding wings for speed, as Warbeast tried intercepting, but Dragon was faster she. Crashed through entrance carrying them deep into spire-twisted corridors. Dragon roared she would hold position with no retreat. As Strike Team ran forward, they followed Solara magical senses, toward Keystone Pulse fighting through. Corrupted guards in Nicole set charges creating fallback positions while Chen patched wounds on Run Maya. And Solara moved as one with Bond singing and combined power devastating everything, but Spire took toll as Finn fell buying time and Mage sacrificed herself sealing corridor by time they reached throne. Room only 5 remained battered but determined room. Was vast with ceiling, lost in shadow and Keystone Void Tier, pulsing at center Shadow King. Stood waiting before it beautiful and terrible with empty void, icy. Yes. Said they came far and accomplished much only to die in his presence, Ilara, said they. Came to stop him and her blade ignited with silver fire Shadow King laughed, saying he was stopping wars before her ancestors walked he. Transcended death itself, and they thought to stop him with their little bond. Maya said simply yes, and raised weapons. Ready to fight Shadow King expression became pitying, saying he was like them once loving outsider. Bonded with human sorceress named Alina, believing love made them stronger Maya. Asked what happened, and Solara already knew through bond connection. Said Alina died killed by those fearing their bond between human and elf. When she died, he felt it through bond as her soul was ripped away. That pain transformed him, making him understand love only brings suffering. Maya said he chose to spread suffering to everyone else instead of healing. Shadow King raised hand and shadows erupted as he said bond would be their undoing battle. It was chaos with Nicole and others rushing Void Tier, while Maya and Solara faced King. His shadows struck like physical blows, and magic corrupted reality around them. Maya felt weapons failing as tech was disrupted by wrongness of his power shadow. King roared they could not win because bond made them weak, but Maya realized he was wrong as she struggled pinned by shadows. His bond made him weak because he faced loss alone and let grief become hatred. They were different with each other and their people and hope. Maya called to Solara, saying together with all their power combined through bond she felt Solara understanding. And terror knowing what Chen said channeling full power would merge souls completely, and if either died both would be destroyed, but it was only way to match. Shadow King power and stop Convergencicular said she trusted Maya, and Maya felt truth. Through bond, they reached across throne room, and bond exploded into light beyond color. Maya felt herself dissolving and merging with Solara, becoming more than separate. She was elf ancient memories and human. Relentless hope combined perfectly magic, and technology, and tradition, and innovation as two souls. Became one whole Shadow King shadows. Shattered against their combined essence, unable to touch such purity he screamed raging that this was impossible, and bond should make them weak, they said. With one voice that he was wrong because love did not make them weak, love made them infinite and unstoppable together. Against darkness, power surged through them, burning away Shadow King armor as he howled and Nicole set final charges on Keystone. As it began pulsing faster, approaching activation. Maya Solara merged, being directed white gold fire at both King and reality screamed. As corruption fought against purity, but light was stronger, Shadow King form began dissolving as he reached. Desperately trying to corrupt them, but their bond was built on trust and hope, not grief and isolation.